Joining us right now, Pro Football Hall of Famer Mike Haynes. Mike, it is always good to hear from you, sir, and thank you for joining us.
Oh, thanks for having me on. This is a big month for me, Men's Health Month.
Men's Health Month, of course, Father's Day this Sunday, so Men's Health Month going on right now, and you have great tips for us. But I always like to pick your brain about what's going on in modern day NFL, and if I could do that real quick, I was curious what your thoughts were on players, not showing up for minicamp, waiting to get a new contract.
Well, I always say there's the consequence. There's always a consequence to those situations. And, when I was playing, it was a little bit different. Whenever I held out, I didn't have a contract. I was trying to get a contract. I never held out while I had one. And so I don't really know exactly how to feel about it, but I know these guys, and I know that they're loyal to their teams. They want to play. They also want to be able to take care of their families. And it's all about negotiations and, when is the right time to have this discussion. But if you don't go to camp, and you don't go into the season before the season starts, and the team starts to lose, you're out of the playoffs. And so signing you, I think it's got to be a priority for the team right now. If I were a general manager, I would be trying to work something out where I had my guys in there, and that would be my goal every year. Especially if you're a leader on the team, you're a great player on the team, and we have high expectations for the team. We might have a new coach. I love to have my coach start off with all of his players right there and ready, all those kinds of things. I mean, you got to have a lot of positives going into a new season. So kudos to, and I shouldn't say kudos, but my hat's off really to all those guys who are decision makers, and they're trying to make a decision at this point. Because they know that whatever they decide to do is going to come back, and the situation is going to be different next time. If they sign one guy this time, then the next year when another guy does the same thing, are they going to sign him too? How are you going to handle it? And they're all trying to build a case to solve it, and hopefully it'll all be rectified and before the regular season starts.
As a former athlete like yourself, when you have a teammate going through that process, is there any resentment from the locker room when he's not there?
I don't think so, because everybody realizes, playing in the NFL, it's a short career. I mean, the average career is 2.5 years, and you got to make the money while you can. And that's why free agency was such an important thing for the Players Association to win for players, because you have a lot of guys who are playing in small market cities, and the guy is making X amount of dollars, and if he wanted to make more money, he'd have to leave the team, but because of the contracts, he couldn't leave the team. And so, they would really have to hold out and hold out and hold out, and hopefully the team would see the light of day and sign him. But oftentimes that was too late. They'd miss the playoffs because they didn't have the guy in time. So I'm hoping that, things are changing, and that's not the case in every situation, but I know it probably still has a chance of happening.
Mike Haynes with us, Pro Football Hall of Famer, former Patriot, former Raider, and it's interesting. While we're talking to you had to sit through, you had to deal with the strike. You were in the league when the players decided to sit out for a few weeks, and now we're seeing the Redskins are honoring some of the replacement players with rings. I just wonder what your thoughts were on that.
Well, I actually think that when, nobody really wins in those situations. I wish they could be avoided, the sit-outs. But when they do happen, you just hope that when it's all rectified, that everybody's happy with the changes that going forward. It doesn't make any sense to do all that and there's nothing changed. So, with we had players that crossed the picket lines and things like that. And, and at the time I hated those guys. But, later in life I realized that, maybe I would have been one of those players too. If I wasn't able to play and this was maybe my only chance to make an impression, I would have crossed the line too. So, we'll just have to deal with it. Like, as I said, there's always a consequence, and just hopefully it's not a terrible consequence for you personally.
Sports gambling is not going to be legalized. It's already been legalized in Nevada. It's in Delaware. Thursday, it's going to be in New Jersey. What type of impact do you think that's going to have for football fans across the country?
Well, I have a feeling it's not going to be a negative. I have a feeling it's going to be a positive situation for fans. I mean, fantasy football has kind of proven, proven that out. That people, a lot of folks are football fans, not for any other reason except that they enjoy, picking players who are going to be, get a lot of yards or a lot of catches and things. They love the game for a lot of different reasons. It's not like like the old days when I played. I'm not much of a gambler. I can really say I'm not a gambler at all. If I do gamble, it's on the golf course, but it's, I'm the typical easy guy. $5 a side. I'm not betting on holes and if you hit the fairway and if you can get up and down out of the sand trap, all that kind of. I'm not a gambler by, really habitually. I don't take a lot of chances. I kind of think I know what I'm doing in every situation. But I can see how it's gonna be part of sports. It always has been for a lot of people, and I think it'll be even more so now going forward for a lot of people because I think we look at gambling a little bit differently than we did, 25 years ago.
Mike Haynes with us. I mean, your resume reads like a Pro Football Hall of Famer as you would expect it. Rookie of the year, 9-time Pro Bowler, 2-time All-Pro, and we tend to look at sports like they're life and death, and you have a better perspective on that than most because of what you've been through and your affiliation with KnowYourStats.org.
Well, probably the thing that I've enjoyed the most since I've retired is actually interacting with doctors and patients and cancer survivors. It's really kind of changed my life, my experience with cancer. I mean, a lot of other diseases as well, children's diseases, childhood cancer, and I realized how much we can make a difference in terms of the research by helping with the fundraising and helping with making sure that the research gets done. And I've really enjoyed being part of it. I was just in Memphis at the St. Jude's Classic, a charity that was started by Danny Thomas, and for pediatric cancer. And, me being a cancer survivor for prostate cancer, and being able to make a difference by just encouraging men to be more aware of their family history and different things that they can do. And the NFL has just been really great with that. All the NFL teams seem to be really behind research when it comes to things like these cancers, and especially when it deals with our kids. And a lot of reason to be proud about playing in the National Football League is because of the way that we've dealt with some of the community issues. And I'd love to see that to continue. And even this the big issue with Colin Kaepernick, I'd love to see the NFL jump in, and maybe they have. You guys are a little bit more on top of all these stories with that are going on all the time. And I used to be when I worked in the league office, but the idea of doing something in these communities to help with these issues with regard to like police brutality and racism in the police force and all that kind of stuff. These are all things that I think that are correctable. We just have to, put our attention to it. And I think that's what Colin Kaepernick was trying to do. And got a little bit sideways and has ended up being about our anthem. I think everybody should be standing for the anthem, by the way. But that's what football can do. You can use your notoriety to do a lot of good things in your community.
And you've been doing that. And again, Know Your Stats, Father's Day coming up on Sunday, and I appreciate you being there to help us spread the message of men's health.
All right, thank you, appreciate it.